Sometimes we are in the scene of an incident in which someone collapses in our presence, either following an impact from a road traffic accident, or the patient drowned during swimming, or while eating, might just collapse. And a lot of times, urgent action is needed to save the patient's life. Two questions we need to ask when the patient collapses like this gentleman that is on the floor. First, we want to find out if he is breathing, and secondly, if he has a pulse. So we go on our knees or go close to the patient on the floor, and we grab the hand and check for pulse. Okay, the pulse is around the outer part of the hand. We check for pulse. We can also check for pulse around the carotid artery. There's a pulsation there. So if there's a pulse and it's just collapsed, and we check for the breathing, the chest is moving up and down, then this is not a very serious situation. But if he's unconscious and there's pulse and there's breathing, all you need to do is to turn the patient to his left lateral position. And by that, you do this. Okay, and this leg is like this, okay, and he's like this. He will be fine. By this position, we prevent the tongue from falling back to occlude his airways, and so he's still able to breathe. And if for any reason he's bleeding from the mouth or from the throat, the blood or whatever secretions is coming out from him will go right out through the mouth. But if he is left in this position while unconscious, this position is very risky for an unconscious person. Yeah, because the tongue can fall back and block the airways, and that can lead to instant death. So for an unconscious patient that still has a pulse rate and is still breathing, the right thing to do is to turn him to the left lateral position. Observe that I folded this leg halfway, I flexed it, okay, and this leg is straight, and he's lying on the right arm, while this left arm is in this position. But more importantly is the head. The left ear is on the ground, while the right ear is facing up, and you can see that his mouth is towards the ground. So in case of any secretions, the secretions can go out. That's the first case scenario. In the second circumstance, let's say we just brought him out from the swimming pool. By the way, if someone is drowning in a swimming pool and you cannot swim, you are advised not to go after him, because if you go, that would mean 2 casualties. But if a skillful person can go after the person and rescue the person, the right thing to do is to bring him out of the water and put him on the ground. And while he's on the ground, if the man is really drowned, chances are that he will not be breathing. Is this man breathing? He's not breathing because he has drowned. You check for the pulse, there's no pulse. You check for the peripheral pulse, there's none. That means that the man has a cardiac arrest. It means he's not breathing and the heart is not working. If he's left like this for 5 minutes to 10 minutes, he will be dead. So what do? You want to institute a measure to keep pushing the blood into the brain. And so you identify the end of the bone, the xiphoid sternum, and you put the heel of your palm here, and put the second one over it with your elbow extended, that's straight. And then you compress. So when you compress, you are aiming at depressing the chest by 2 inches. That's 5 centimeters. As you do that, when you take your hand up, blood comes back to the heart. When you push down, blood moves from the heart into the brain. That can sustain the patient until help comes. How many times are you supposed to do the compression? 100 times per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 100 times per minute. If that's all you can do, you will save the patient. But you can actually do more. What is the more? The second aspect of it, we call it the kiss of life. That means you are going to give breath. You are going to give him air. So after 30 of this compression, you lift up the head, you lift up the chin like this, okay, and then open his mouth, block his nostrils, and you can put a clean rag over the mouth and deliver breath. 2 breaths after 30 compressions. What would that breath do? When you give breath, it takes air into the lungs. The air that we breathe out contains about 70% oxygen. So it can still do a good job for him. Okay? When you push in the air, if you are doing it correctly, the chest is supposed to rise. Because you have blocked the nostrils and you have opened the mouth, make sure that your mouth encircles his mouth or the victim's mouth completely. As you breathe in air, as you are breathing out right into his mouth, and that should rise his chest. So you do 30 compressions, you wait and give 2 breaths. But if you are 2 that is rescuing the patient, 1 person can be giving the breath while you are doing your compression. So you do 30, the person gives 2 breaths. You do 30, he gets 2 breaths while you call for the ambulance. And while on the way to the hospital, you continue the compression until he gets to the hospital. This simple procedure can keep patients alive until he gets to the hospital. It's important for everybody to know where the pulse is. You see, this is where I'm touching now. If you put your hand there, you feel the beat, the heartbeat of the heart is transmitted down to the periphery here. Or otherwise, just below the jaw, behind the jaw, you put all your fingers there, you will feel the transmission of the heartbeats coming down to that place. So those are the pulse. It's important we know what pulse is. Because when someone collapses, you go for the pulse, there's no pulse, you check, he's not breathing, he's going to die if you don't do something in 10 minutes. I find people at the scene of accidents, 1, not knowing what to do, or 2, doing the wrong things. If you happen to be at the scene of the accident, the first thing to do is to rescue the victim by carrying the person carefully out of the accident scene to a safe place. And then you begin to institute some of the measures that I have talked about today. It is inhuman to pick your phone and be taking selfie to talk to the world about how severe the accident is when you could have been able to save a life. So I think the best thing to do is to gain knowledge based on the descriptions we have made here today, so that you can be able to apply that knowledge to save lives, rather than being the one that would be the carrier of the bad news.